video live info update that it seems like tomorrow is going to be the day that we do our Sabrina Wallace interview. So if you've never met the wonderful Miss Sabrina Wallace, tomorrow will be a day that you will always remember. So make sure they're here. We have not nailed down the time exactly yet, but there will be a community post later today to let you know the time that Sabrina does choose. And I'm excited. I've got all your stuff pulled up, all your questions. We're going to do it. I'm going to do it via live stream and do it through StreamYard so that I can pull up certain comments as we go through. I'm asking everybody to be on their best behavior. We are getting trolled hot and heavy. And if you've noticed, I had to report and remove some comments yesterday after I posted David's Bobcat video that he made. And it was just people that they don't understand other people's lifestyles. They don't understand what it's like to live in the country. They don't understand what it is to live hand in hand with nature. And they think that their perspective is always right. Had to remove some stuff, people getting very ugly. It's just sad to say it's just normal in this day and age, but we're trying to gear away from that and find the good people when they troll us, when YouTube trolls us hot and heavy and throws us out there in the algorithm. I try to find the good people. So I try to stress to people, hey, don't. And if you don't want to be here, don't be here, but certainly don't take the time to ruin somebody else's day. And if you want to be here, I'm thankful that you found us. Sit down, visit us, Belle, see if you like us. The bobcat that he got the other day was basically the bobcat of a lifetime. He's trapped several bobcat in his day. They're a very hard animal to trap. They're very smart. We have way too many on that property. That is why there are basically no birds on that property between the bobcats, the coyotes, and the raccoons, and the foxes, and the possums, the nest predators. There's not any birds on that property. Therefore, there's no new vegetation or no new trees. It's kind of a stagnant piece of property. It's starting to get some stuff after the last year he trapped. This year, last summer, we started to see some stuff sprouting that had to be brought in by birds. And we're starting to see bees back because the birds are back. So the land is starting to perk up, which is a great sign. It's going to take it several more years to get everything in balance. We never trap to eradication. That's not smart. You trap to balance because you need all those animals and you need everything they bring in and everything that they do for the property. So we're trying really hard to get this land back. It is just, if you looked at some of the videos from the first year of trapping, it's just dead. And so we're trying really hard to get that land back and make it healthy again. And we're hoping to see turkeys on the property this spring. That would, tell us that there's been a lot of growth and a lot of birds come back and they feel safe enough to be there. You've seen the number of coyotes he's taken off the property. You've seen how big they are. When he caught that bobcat, and I was like, that was a good trap set. It's very hard to outsmart a bobcat. They're creatures of habit. They almost step in the same footprints every day. So that was a big catch for him. That was one of the biggest bobcats. I've seen two big ones. I had a big one that was mounted in my house that we got deer hunting. It came through a deer hunt, and we had been there all day. And we were like, the guy told us, if you see bobcats, pop them because I've got too many on this property. That was, we gone in another unit hunting that. That was, gosh, way back. I was still hunting in tree stands back then, back before all the knee surgeries. And it was one of the nicest bobcats, but it wasn't very substantial. It was very lanky and tall, but it wasn't a big, fat, healthy bobcat. And this one was beautiful. This was like a bobcat of a lifetime. Beautiful bobcat. Absolutely gorgeous. Anybody wanting to know, was it soft? It's so soft. I sat there and pet it when we got back from town yesterday. I just sat there and pet it for probably 30 minutes and just talked to Dave while he's working. Such a beautiful animal. And so it's going to be turned into a rug for display. It's going to be a big rug. So we're super happy to have gotten that off the property. That was a top tier predator. So now we know that that's going to help a lot of the bird population. That's going to help a lot. Getting a big male off, off the property like that, that's going to help a lot. We know of 3 more that are using the same trails. And it's just all about bringing balance to this land. It is just overrun with predators. It's just nothing can survive there. And the predators, they're starting to look healthier because we've thinned the numbers. And you can tell that by what he's trapping this year. But there are still too many for a lot of the birds to come back and feel safe there. So we're still working. We're still trying. We want to get it. We want to get it back. But it looks like tomorrow will be the day that we do the Sabrina Wallace interview. I just wanted to pop on and let you be aware. We were trying to nail down the time, but I wanted to let you know because I'm going to go have my ear checked out again today. So I thought I better do a live really quick to let them know so that they can be looking for a community post later to tell them what specific time we have decided to do the live tomorrow with Sabrina. It's going to be fun. I don't know how much I'll interact with the people in the chat just because we've been trolled so bad here lately. I'm going to do it through StreamYard to make sure that I can pull up specific comments so that she can look at them. But I also want to make sure that I have a mod or two that can be there just to cut down the crap that gets thrown at by people that are trolling us right now because they've thrown us back into the algorithm. So I hope it's in the evening too, Jackie, but I'm going to let her make the determination on the time because, it's all about Sabrina tomorrow. It's all about Sabrina. Howdy, Northwest Ohio, how you doing? I'm down here on the plateau in Tennessee. I will, Gypsy, thank you. I will. Gypsy, did you get something in the mail? It said it got delivered. Thought it was something that you and Abby could both share. I thought it was pretty. We're still getting, well, it said delivered, so start looking for it. Sometimes they say delivered like a day before, but start looking for it and ask Jody across the road just in case it got handed off there. But watch for it. Normally when it says delivered, it's either there or within 48 hours it shows up because they scan them weird sometimes. They do that here too. Freaks me out. So I'm excited about tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good interview. I'm hoping that my ear chills out so that I can focus on the interview and not the pain in my ear. It's doing okay. I'm going to go and probably get another round of antibiotics because the first round did not help. But it's not going to my mastoid, so it's just an earache from the drainage from this weather going hot to cold, hot to cold. It is like supposed to be 46 here today. At least it's sunny. But it was 72 just the other day. Y'all remember I had the door open when I was cooking. This weather is not right. It's just not right. Jackie, that's a good question because it's easy to get on the doom and gloom when she's giving all this information because it's so much to swallow. I think the positive is that we know it. We know it, and it gives us an inclination to understand what's happening, why we're being, tethered to the cloud, how our bodies are being impacted, all the resources they have that do ping us, that run through our bodies, that use our bodies for their personal gain. And I think, one of the big things is just thank goodness we now know what's going on and, we can at least compost the data because, we can't find a way to mitigate it unless we know it's occurring. So maybe that may be the only positive, honestly. A lot of people think that you can untether yourself. It's not possible because you don't control most of the things that tether you. So there are things that tap into us that, they've got us on the cloud. People, we're on the cloud. You have a digital twin. Like these are all things, these are words you need to Google and research and look up. The worst change in society has been the medical field and not necessarily pharmaceuticals. They've always been janky. But a lot of the care we get now is dictated by programs. We don't see a doctor that has knowledge anymore. It's a program. They run a program. Have you seen a doctor without an iPad or a tablet in their arms lately? They tell the insurance company what they want to do, and the insurance company tells them what they'll pay for. They are driven not by curing us, helping us, the patient. They're driven by what the insurance will pay for. 9 times out of 10, the insurance will not pay for the least harmful route to help you. They want what they're going to make bankroll on. And I know this because my health is horrible. And I've had to go against the doctors. And I've had doctors when they've said, well, we want to take this course of action. I'm like, no, that's too invasive. There's got to be another way around this without doing that to my body. They get mad at me. because that's how they make money. If they choose to do something else, the insurance will give them problems. We'll say, no, we're not going to pay you. They'll have to fight. And then I'll have to fight. And it's stupid because it should be what's best for the patient. It's no longer like that. It's sad. Yeah, just being able to understand and compost what's going on is probably a big plus. It is just overwhelming sometimes, though. It's very overwhelming. So I just wish people understood that most people can't see, hear, feel the things that are impacting their bodies. And so it's hard to identify what all is going on. Now, some of us can. I'm super sensitive, as y'all have seen with my health. I'm super sensitive. And so when all of this internet stuff started to pop up in the world, my body started betraying me. And I was like the glorified Amazon girl. I halter broke show cattle for a number of years. I cleaned out 32 horse stalls a day when I was working through college. I handled studs. I was the head farm boy, the head stable boy. And that's how I went through college. That's how I paid to go through college. And I was benching like 150 when I was 14, and I was leg pressing like 700. So I was an Amazon for a girl, and I'm only 5'4", 5'5". Yeah, I'm just broad. I was setting tobacco before I was even in kindergarten, hauling hay, plowing up potatoes with a standard bred blonde mare. Just, a different lifestyle than most people had. So I was stronger than most people and knew how to do more farm stuff than most people. And then to have my body break down on me, and it was just an immediate boom. You can no longer do the things that you could do 3 months ago. No explanation. And then I went through with work and my careers. I went through some pretty significant issues. I got attacked when I was a wilderness boot camp counselor with the 18-year-old from Texas that attacked me with an axe, had to have a lot of leg surgeries. I went out after that, and I did like a year of physical therapy. I did a AmeriCorps contract where I tutored second and third graders in the area, but I also taught parents to read because the parents needed to help their children. After I did that contract and I got through all my physical therapy and all that stuff, I went on to supervise murders for the state of Tennessee. I supervised the violent male offenders. I did SOs, interstate compact. I was IPO of several jails. I did cognitive behavioral therapy for the violent offenders. And so I also did the pre-sentence investigations for the district. I've not had the best jobs. Like I've had super stressful jobs, but my body just would not hack it. And it just fell into a decline super quick. I donated almost every voluntary organ. I didn't know what was going on with my body. And then I started figuring it out. And with Sabrina's help the last few years, I have gotten a much better handle on things, and my health is much better. Much better. A lot of it's just knowing what is affecting you and how it's affecting you and the things that you can do to kind of counter-react it. And a lot of it's just eating cleaner and making sure that you have time to yourself, meditation, specific things around you that ground you and help your body heal, because nothing we have in our world today is actually beneficial to our body to heal. Had to hide somebody, sorry. They were spamming. So a lot of it's just knowing how to help your body. But there's no way to completely avoid these things because we know a lot. If you listen to Sabrina, we know an awful lot, but we don't know every way in which our bodies are tethered. And, people say, well, how don't we know? Well, look at the investigations and the audits going on by the Department of Government Efficiency. They have found, just reviewing 1% of the entire budget, they have found over $100 billion in questionable and basically garbage, money being spent. And we can't rely on people in high positions to think about the citizens of this nation anymore. Maybe after we clean house a little bit, but they've even turned society against itself because I don't know who would fuss about somebody auditing government spending because it's needed to be done for so many years, but people are fussing about it. And I'm like, why would you fuss about this? Don't you want to know where every penny goes? There should be public announcements for every penny that it's supposed to be. It's a law that they have to tell us where every penny goes. They have to publicly state every penny that they spend of taxpayer money. And they've gotten to where they don't do that anymore, and they don't feel the need to, and they send it wherever they want to. There was like $84 million given to the Clintons, supposed to go to Haiti for relief aid. It paid for Chelsea's wedding and Chelsea's mansion. This is needed to be done for so long. And I don't care who's in power, it's needed to be done for so long. And I'm sure we're going to find a bunch of Republicans doing some shanky stuff too. Just wait, it's going to happen. Because people in positions of power, normally they go sour. And, it's just sad to say that. Yeah, I'm rooting him on too. And Elon's not getting paid. He's on a read-only text format. All those guys that are helping him audit, they can only read. When they find stuff, they have to report it back, and then the president takes action. So he's not changing anything. He's not doxing anybody. He's not giving information out. He is simply performing an audit, much like the IRS does on us. So I think there's a huge possibility that there's going to be so much money spent that you and I are going to figure out we don't need taxes anymore. It was started in 1913 to benefit, the war issue. I don't think we need taxes anymore. I think we're going to find out that our government has plenty of money without taking from us. They just don't appropriately spend it. And so maybe if we put them on a short leash, you and I can be free. Now, a lot of people say I don't want that because when I file my taxes, because I've got 5 kids, I get back $9,000. Shush. Think about it. If you had that money in your pocket all through the year, plus you didn't have to pay taxes on other things, you would get out with way more than that much money. So think about it, and we need to do what's going to benefit the majority of the nation. So I think there's a lot of people that are just scared by change, and they don't want to sit down and look what's going on. They just want to run and scream and be scared. Not smart. Don't go into a heavy emotion when you're made to feel in emotions because people want to manipulate you. They're giving us the information daily of what's occurring. They're telling us step by step. They're trying to be as transparent as possible. Absorb the information and don't freak out. If you see people freaking out, they want to freak out. They think it pays their bills. It doesn't. It doesn't. It just creates a bad emotional manipulation that's spread through that side of, the people that are so easily freaked out. I'm not freaked out by this. I'm freaked out by the fact that they've been spending this money without telling anyone. They've been sneaking this money without telling anyone. And since President Trump said, stop it, it all stops until we audit. Do you know that FEMA sent out $59 million more to luxury hotels in New York after he said, stop it, until we audit, nothing goes out? They sent that out after he said that. $59 million. FEMA swore they were broke. People in North Carolina got nothing. Thank God Trump's got the Army Corps of Engineers down there now starting to rebuild those big bridges so that people can get aid more readily. But they swore they had nothing. But they sent out $59 million to luxury hotels in New York. After he said, don't, hey, arrest them all, as far as I'm concerned. If you and I done something like that, hey, we'd be clinking our coffee cup against the rails too. Just send them to jail. Let them think about their behavior. The thing is we've kept them up way too good for far too long. And so all this money has gone to pet projects where they can benefit their friends, or basically it's a huge laundromat, if you get my drift. $20 million for Angelina Jolie to go fly and take a picture with Zelensky. $4 million for Sean Penn. We didn't need any of that. That was not necessary. That war was going to happen whether we prop up a celebrity or not. Why? Because they're trying to take emotional hostages, make you feel something, and make you believe one way or the other. Instead of looking at information, they want you to go by your emotions. You're never going to make the right decision if you go by your emotions. You have to go logically by factual and empirical data. And the data says we got some foxes in the hen house. I don't want to lock up the political opposition. I want to lock up anyone that violates the society, the citizens, and their money. Like, this is like, if you and I broke a law, we would be in jail. I honestly, if you put a no spending law out there, you say it all freezes, you freeze every government agency, and then they find a way to supersede that and still send money. They're not stupid. They're arrogant and egotistical, and they think they're powerful. We've got to stop that in this nation. The only thing that a nation has to do is take care of its citizens. The U.S. hasn't done that in a number of years. They haven't done that in a number of years. And while I honestly think that every politician is probably as crooked as a dog's hind leg, I am much more likely to support somebody that is going to go in and audit the government themselves, that's going to look into everything, every penny that's being spent, because they have not publicly displayed that for a number of years. They've given us ballpark figures and they've given us like a itemized guesstimation, but they've not actually shown us where it's been going. They talk about it, but as we've seen with the audits, it doesn't necessarily go where they say it goes. So this is something that I'm going to want to see from now on. I don't care who's in control. I want to see it from now on. I want to know where the taxes are being spent. I want to know where it's going. I want to know who it's benefiting, because the only thing that the United States is supposed to do is take care of its citizens, protect its citizens. You have one job, and nothing has been going on for the citizens for a long time. And for FEMA to say we're broke, but then violate this order while it's pending audit and send $59 million to luxury hotels in New York. I mean, that's just disgraceful. That's just disgraceful. Well, we've got people in North Carolina, California, Ohio, Florida. We've got so many people that have undergone so many weird things, so many disasters. They're not even worried about them, but they'll send it to luxury hotels in New York to house people that are criminals that shouldn't even been here. I am not opposed to immigration. We've got some dandy people that have moved in here. We've got a Chinese community that's just wonderful. We've got a Hispanic community that's just, they're awesome. The Chinese family actually brings other people in, and like every year, it's like a big thing in the community when they go and take their citizenship. They go and take their exams, and and when they go and get sworn in, it's a huge day for this community. And this family has done this repetitively for about 17, probably 15, 20 years at least. It's a big thing. It's a huge thing. And they say Appalachia's homogenous. No. We've got every creed and culture and model and make here. And we all get along just fine. There's, it's people that believe blanket statements like that that bother, it bothers me. People that come in and want to say stuff to some of my videos that have never walked off of pavement, but they know what to tell me how to live in Appalachia. I don't go to the city and tell you how to live. I go to the city and I go, this is different. I'm going to be polite when I'm here, and then I'm going to leave. That's what I do. Because I don't want to live there. I don't know the ins and outs of living there. I'm a country girl. But it's very point blank to anyone that's got half a brain that we have a large percentage of this population that wants no responsibility, no accountability, because if they put it on the government, it's going to be put on them. They don't want to look deep into anything. They don't want other people to look deep into them. They just want to sit on their hands, cry that they can't do anything, but never take action to fix it, because it pays their bills and it makes them happy. Makes them happy. Yeah, I'm big on, are you going to take care of the citizens? Are you going to improve things? Are you going to, as much as possible from what we can get from any freaking politician, are you going to be honest? Because the U.S. has turned into the cesspool of the entire world. And people say, oh, that's not true. If you go and read other countries' news outlets, you will see what they think of us. Did anybody see the information Putin put out the other day? Solidified a whole news story that people will fight you about in this country, because they say, oh, that's not true. It is. The whole rest of the world knows it. They're writing stories on it. And because our media won't tell you the truth and you won't go dig, you're not accountable, you're not responsible, you don't research, you believe this much of the information while all of us have this much, and you sit there and you cry that we're telling a lie. We're not telling a lie. We're just getting much more information, and we work harder to get it, and we make a more educated determination. And Putin blasted that story. Our media will not share it for anything. But if you go and look at Russia's last couple of weeks of newspapers, Putin told everybody the goddamn truth. He told everybody the truth about why the war occurred, how it occurred, why it wouldn't have occurred if things had been different, and why things weren't different. And he threw down receipts. And every nation ran a story except for the U.S. Why? Because people in the U.S., they trust the media still, though I don't know why. And they're too lazy to either get a VPN or to find a backdoor to go and read other countries' mail. I mean, just go and read it. Like, go and read a newspaper. Even the weird outlets in other countries are more honest than our media. And I mean, you're going to get so much more information, and you're going to get this perspective. They hate us. We're the laughing stock of the world. We have been for a while. They think it's hilarious because our young people don't know how to sit down, shut up, and learn. They don't know how to respect tradition and culture. They don't know how to maintain a society. They just know how to cry. They just know how to cry. They're sitting there going, well, these young men who are savant-level master geniuses, they're too young to be looking at records. They're too young to be auditing the government. They're too young. Yet you let a 5-year-old make a determination about its sexuality for the next 10 decades. You let children chop off parts of their body. But these savant-level geniuses are too young to audit the government when they are just numerical mathematician, just geniuses. They don't. Their logic is just backwards. There's no continuity of thought. And I'm sitting here going, okay, sure. That made a lot of sense, Linda. So it's frustrating, but they cry about everything. They cry about everything. And I'm sitting here going, okay, as long as I'm getting information and I'm getting transparency, I'm going to get to read this audit. We're getting told daily about updates. We know what's going on. I'm cool with it. We get audited. The government should be audited. Everybody should be audited. I think when they get into what's really going to get me, I mean, the Department of Education is going to be really fun because we're going to see where all the changes happen with Common Core and all that. It was not made to improve our students at all. It was done to hurt them. I think that will become very apparent when they go in and they see what money's been going where. But also, wait till they get into some of the social services and the funding there. Do you know that sometimes CPS loses children? That should be impossible, shouldn't it? If you lose children, it's because you must be manipulating the data. Because if you were just every month punching the numbers to pay for foster parents to take care of these children, you wouldn't lose them, right? So they've got to be doing something that's not as kosher to fudge the numbers to lose these kids. Like, I've had foster parents say, I called and said, I'm sorry, I've had this kid for 2 months and I've had no one tell me what's going to happen next with him, what next doctor's appointment, what we're going to, we need a team meeting. Oh, we forgot. You had that one. Excuse me? Like, I counseled in this realm. I had a lot of foster kids that were in my caseload. And I had a lot of foster parents that probably shouldn't have been foster parents. Just saying. But let me tell y'all, the people that are foster parents, if they're good, they're dandies. Even if they're not good, they're going to keep people aware because they want that money every month. They say they spend it on the kid. I have my own doubts. We're going to see how they're fudging the numbers that creates this little shift in things where they lose children. I want to know what's going on. And I think when they get into the social services realm, we're going to see a whole bunch of crap. I think when they get into the CPS and the corrections side of things, oh my gosh, we're going to see some really eye-opening, just brain-rotting information. It's just, be prepared. It's going to be big. It's going to be big. I think it's important to understand And of course, I worked in the corrections field. I hated it. They wanted me to send back 30% of my caseload every quarter. And I would be like, well, they've not violated their supervision. Why? They'd be like, you didn't meet your 30%. I've not had 30% violate their supervision. Why would I send them back to prison if they've not violated their supervision? Well, the TDOC runs, and I'm like, I know. I know they make money off these people. They're just cattle. But if you want somebody who's going to violate people so that you can get a penny or two, not going to be me. So I had like an 84% success rate. The parole board loved me because they knew if they were going to parole somebody, they were going to get heavy supervision, some counseling on the side, and they were going to be monitored. Most likely they were going to become protective members of society, and they were going to be able to maintain a lifestyle out of prison, which was beneficial for everybody. But then you go into the corrections side of things, where they're actually building these prisons and looking at them as businesses. They would get very mad at me because they needed the bodies to build, to make money, to get grants, to get loans. It was a business, and it made me sick. And so I was either loved or hated, never in between. But I was respected by the people that had my caseload because they knew I was trying to help them create a positive and productive life. I've seen backroom deals in courtrooms that I didn't agree with. I've seen people not charged because of who they rub elbows with. It's a shame what money can make you get away with. I've had governors ask me for clemencies for people that 3 weeks ago had a domestic assault in another state and wasn't allowed to leave the state and sure wasn't allowed to get a new charge, that I had a warrant pending on. They'd pull my warrant and say, we want him to have clemency. That's not how it works. He has to do an application process. Then I have to determine if he's appropriate. This one's not appropriate. Well, I want him. I knew his dad. I don't care who you knew. This man is not appropriate. He obviously has not learned how to behave within society, and I'm not going to turn him any more loose than he is already because he's not doing well. It's not going to be on my conscience. So I've told governors, no, I've hung up on him. They don't like that. They're in positions of power. They're not thinking about everyone. They're getting bought and paid for, especially the little short guy that had all the pilot places. Not anyone that I would want to deal with on a daily basis. But he actually put some money on a suspended sentence so he could run a bar. Do you know how hard it is to supervise somebody that's running a goddamn bar? It's very difficult because just ownership of a bar puts them in such a position of worry, violates half the rules right there. Other people can't go to a bar. They can't go to a concert where beer is being sold. They're not to go anywhere whose prime task is to sell alcohol. And then they're going to put somebody on a suspended sentence so he can run a bar because he knew his dad. This is what needs to stop. Law needs to be law. Rules need to be followed. There needs to be an even keel across the board societal regulations we all have to follow. Nobody gets out and does their own thing. We all need to follow them. That's how we form a base of society where we're all aware of what we are responsible for and to. And then when nobody's getting, a leg up on anyone, then we can look at each other and go, okay, we're all on an even playing field now. How do we help each other? Because if you can't get it back, out the back door, you're going to turn toward each other and society will start being inclusive again. And don't come cry to me that inclusivity is something that every liberal strives for. No, they don't. It's what pays their bills, what makes them feel above everyone else. It is a direct emotional and financial payoff for them. It's not something they do on their own. Inclusivity is motivated by what benefits you. I'm in an area where there are no groups that, we don't have groups that meet to showcase this. We're just all good people. We care about our neighbors and we do what we can. And so there's not really any way to benefit because we're already doing everything. So nobody can come in and put anybody to shame and brag about themselves and I'm doing this and I'm doing that and you're a bigot, and they can't do that because we're all working really hard for each other right now. I think if we all got on an even playing field where we're all working hard for each other, all that would fall to the wayside, be a thing of the past. We'd all just be people and we'd have to help each other. I mean, even the neighbor's son got out of prison about a week ago. I made a point to talk to him and tell him, you've looked better than I've seen you look in 20 years. I'm proud of you. He stayed sober. He's still hanging around people he ought not hang around, so I don't know how long it'll last. And I told him that too. I said, to really change your life, you have to change everything. You have to get away from all those old things that are going to pull you back into that old lifestyle. I hope you continue to make better decisions. If at any time you feel like you're going to use again, please come and speak to me. We'll get you resources, help. We'll do what we can. You know what he said to me? He said, I was real mad at you because I knew he had a warrant. And he had warrants from other counties. He had been arrested in the field by a canine unit where he had a stolen gun and drugs on him. So when I knew he had a violation warrant and he had warrants out of other counties, when he visited his mom one day, I called the cops and said, listen, he's over here if y'all want to arrest him. Because he was literally 85 pounds and going to OD. Didn't bother me a bit to turn him in. Boy was going to die. Let's put him somewhere it's harder for him to die. And while you can get anything in prison, it is harder to use to the maximum capacity to overdose. We'll just say that. So he was in for quite a while. And he said, he said, I was mad for a little while. He said, but now, he said, thank you. He said, yeah, he said, staying in. He said, it proved to me that the woman I was with did not love me. We don't need to be together. He said, she moved on. He said, she's just looking for somebody to take care of her and provide her with what she uses. And he said, it made me think. He said, I've not done anything in my 40 years of life. He said, I've got stuff I've got to do. He's been cleaning his mama's property up. The boy that used to cook meth has been cleaning his mama's property up. And I said, I'm proud of you for making good decisions. I hope it continues. If you ever think you're going to make bad decisions, please come and talk to me. I'll help you. I'll help you. We'll find you resources. We'll do something to make it more difficult for you to relapse. I said, you look better than I've ever seen you look. That helped him more than anything. Just having somebody say they were proud of him and comment that he was doing better. All you got to do is be good. And the hell they've put me through. Like, I would be justified to snarl and never speak to them again. But that's not going to help him in his journey. So rather than be an asshole, which I'm capable of being, I chose to be a positive person because I know that will go much farther with him in this journey. I hope he does stay clean. Be a whole lot less of a headache for me, but it will be wonderful for him. His grown children that want to have a relationship with him but have said, no, sorry, I can't. Not while you're doing all this crap. I hope he does well. Now, if he doesn't stop dealing with the old people he's run with, I don't know how long it'll last. But be positive for what's positive right now. Right now, he's doing okay. So let's hope he does well for a long time to come. But there's something to be said about just being a good person. I mean, I could have fed my ego and continued to be absolutely hateful toward him. I certainly got a justified reason to put a very good boundary between us. But, there's certain times it's not about you. It wasn't about me then. He needed to be told, I'm proud of you. You're doing great. Because that was the circumstance. I was proud of him. He is doing great. So I'm sitting here going, please, Lord, let's keep him straight because he's actually a very talented mechanic. And he's a decent person when he's not using. And I really want him to stay there. Number one, because I don't want to have to worry about things getting thieved from my property when he's not straight, It just creates a much better environment when everybody's doing something positive. So that's what I'm trying to do right now. I will forgive, but I won't forget. But I will forgive 50,000 times. Because I know sometimes it takes up to 12, 13 times for somebody to go to treatment to really stick to it. So I'm going to be graceful and try to just dispense grace where I can. And hopefully things will be different. I hope. I hope. I told him, I said, you're worth all this effort. You know that, right? I hope it sticks. I hope it resonates with him. I really hope he does well. But other people, they make a show of this. They make a show of it. They elevate their own standing in society by how they treat other people. And it's like, this is not necessary. Just be a decent person. You know. And I'm just sitting here watching lies go across the TV screen and out of people's mouths. And people are, instead of going and researching, going and reading, they're believing these lies. Like somebody was on the internet the other day doing a live, and they were telling all these falsehoods about the audit. And they were going, well, they wouldn't lie about this. They wouldn't lie on their own government websites. And I said, no, they do all the time. I said, they put it right out there thinking we won't see it because here lately, Americans have been too lazy to do any kind of research, any kind of recovery of any kind of facts, data. We're just too lazy. So they've not really had to hide anything from us. So if you go look for it, you're going to find it. And they didn't believe me. So I start putting links in the chat. I'm like, here, go look. Go educate yourself. Go look. You know, this will help you learn how to investigate in the future. They don't like that. They don't like it because they want to be right more than they want to learn. I would rather you learn. I'm just going to throw information out there, and if you can use it, that's great. If you can't, okay. That's your determination to make. I'm not going to scream at you and tell you that, you know, you must think and do everything the way I do it. That's stupid. We're all different. But when there's a fact that can be proven scientifically, mathematically, I would certainly hope people would go, oh, yeah, that's a fact. Here's the numbers. Yeah, I can see that. But we don't have that in the U.S. right now, and it's absolutely atrocious. Like the 84 million that went to the Clintons was supposed to be like for Haiti relief. That's what it was wrote down for. It didn't get there. Didn't get there. There's no proof that it got there. Haiti said it didn't get there. The media wrote stories about the relief that was supposed to go there. It didn't get there. And when they went through the audit, guess where the money went? It went to Chelsea's wedding, which is atrocious. Taking taxpayer money and putting it through a private, personal event. And it went to buy a mansion for Chelsea. And they're brave enough just to cash it right out of whatever they put it into, even though they got this paperwork saying it's going for this, that, and the other. They cash it right out and pay for these things to where an audit is just right there. It's black and white. And people don't want to believe it. We're going to have a really hard time coming back in this nation with people that are not capable of looking at factual evidence, composting it, and understanding that it occurred. And I don't know how you retrain a brain like that. I honestly don't believe it's possible at some level where if you're okay with that many lies and you lie to yourself, then it's possible we can never help you reclaim any kind of logic. We're going to have to deal with these people for a long time to come. And they're going to be the people that keep an unsettled level of stupid debate in this nation going. And we don't need that. We don't need that at all. We just need to be looking at information, at factual data, and going, oh, well, yeah, that's exactly where it went. Well, shucks. How do we fix this? Well, we limit the money they have to spend, and we make sure it goes to the right place from now on. But I think that we're going to see that they have bulldozed us out of so many trillions of dollars. I think America's going to say, I'm sorry, this tax thing, yeah, it stops right now. It stops right now. 1913, when we was heading into some world wars, yeah, you might needed some extra money for the war. No, you're not using it but for anything but pet projects now, and the pet projects aren't even getting maybe a dime on the dollar. We're done. We're done. But how many people actually will say that? Especially when the media leans toward the people that don't believe it, don't want to believe it, won't research, will keep continuing screaming lies, lies, lies. I watched CNN the other day, and Tim Walz said that President Trump was fixing to defund the police. Let me tell you, as somebody that researches both sides, not one statement has been said about defunding police by President Trump. They also keep linking President Trump to this Project 2025 when that was not what he ran on. I think they keep trying to put it out there, and people do believe it. And then they kind of create another story where they bend it, and and it's like, stop. Just tell the truth. Your party runs you on fear and heightened emotion. They keep you in your amygdala. It's an unhealthy place to be. It creates cortisol retention. It puts your pituitary and your put your pituitary, your amygdala, at least 3 lobes in a very stressful state of being, to where you're not composting what you need to be composting. Add that with, we've got a lot of people on that side that are now on different hormones, counteracting the hormones that they were born with. I'm sorry, you were born with them. The ones that were supposed to respond when your body hit puberty, you've now augmented, you've changed them. Add that to, we've got a bunch of adults now that don't get any kind of satisfaction in their lives because they have mutilated their bodies. Listen, those are people that really hang on to a bone. They really hold a grudge. They don't have a lot of ways to chill out. And so we've created this whole little sect of society that is just exacerbating everything wrong with their bodies. Anything that can create a stress response, a trauma response, they have emboldened within their own body. And we wonder why they sit and scream. We wonder why that feels really good to them, because nothing else does. They've gotten their body so messed up. If you go and read about hormones, brain chemistry, brain development, go read about it. This is why we have a lot of 30-something-year-olds that act like 14-year-olds. They have frozen their brains. If you start using drugs when you're 12 and you're a consistent user until you're 20, when you get sober at 20, you're going to act like a 12-year-old until your brain catches up. You freeze your body's development. You freeze the chemical development. You freeze the intelligence. You freeze the social development. You really screw yourself up. Now add on to that you do it on purpose, and then you physically augment yourself as well. You're playing catch up the whole rest of your life. And then when you do catch up, you realize, I'm an adult, but I can't get the gratification that many adults get to get through life, to have those relationships, to have those bonds, to make life bearable. So you become a very unhappy person that can't be satiated. That's a very bad place to be. Then you have another trauma response. You were just stacking trauma responses on trauma responses, and you think you're going to be happy. As someone that used to counsel, you're not. All you're doing is setting the jumps you have to jump in life higher and higher and higher, to where eventually you go, I just can't make it. I hate everybody. And you stay in that frame of mind. It is absolutely shooting yourself in the foot every day. And I worry. I worry for people that do this, and that people that absolutely do it without any form of investigative research or educational transition counseling. They don't know what they're going into. That's a real big one to throw yourself in right there. Huge. So I'm concerned about people from a chemical composition, hormonal, and brain chemistry and development standpoint. And they get very mad at me for that. But I know that you're absolutely impeding yourself in every capacity to handle any kind of adult emotion or problem. And then you're taking out a lot of coping mechanisms that adults have. That's a recipe for disaster. People won't research and they don't understand that. So I'm just sitting here looking at society going, and that was a good idea. Why? That's mostly what I say now. That was a good idea. Why? And it's shameful, because, not to be rude, but y'all got a lot of extra time. You're not using it wisely. I wish you would. So there are a lot of things that would never occur in life if people did not create the capacity for them to emotionally or physically occur. So a lot of people continue to create these paths that go nowhere. What is it serving? Ego, hate, fear. And if I meet a person, I'm gonna be nice to that person. I don't care what color your hair is or how funny you're dressed. I'm gonna be nice to you because it's in my nature to be nice to you. I'm gonna empathize with you because it's in my nature to do so. I'm gonna find something we have in common. Because I don't wish ill on anybody. I'm trying to say, hey, look at this before you make this huge decision. Make sure you're going down the appropriate path. Be very well entrenched in the details so that you know what you're going to face. Because I don't want to see somebody go through that. But if you put yourself down and you're going through it, I'm going to try to help you. But the thing is they're so sour by the time they get there, it's very hard to help them. It's very hard for them to help themselves. It's very hard for them to accept help from other people because they think they created this ultimate, self-made path. And then they realize all I've done is pare down my ability to deal with anything. But it's too little too late then. I just wish people thought more about these things. They understood how the chemical composition and the lack or changing of hormones affects the brain composition, the brain maturity, development, social development, frontal lobe development. Coping mechanisms, look at hormones and gratification and coping mechanisms. A lot of it, you can even go and research crime stats. And you're gonna find who's the most fastest growing population of crime. Teenagers and young adults. Teenagers big time lately. But look at how the world has changed for them. Look at the decisions they're getting to make when they're not aware and capable of making them. Look at the world they live in. What's a doozy? And we literally have a lot of 20 to 30-year-olds that are functioning as prepubescent teenagers because their brains are not developing correctly. There's been a change. Something's been augmented. And so we've stopped development so they can do this transition. Now they get to birth about 30 and their brain's trying to finish developing. So we have 30-year-olds that act like 12-year-olds. And we're wondering why society's going downhill. Self-made slippery slope. There's only about 3% of the population at any given time in history that has ever landed in or around the trans, hermaphroditic, all that. And now we've got literally a quarter to a third of younger generations identifying this way. There is no way it could have grown that much in so few generations. So we really have to look at how we're petitioning this through the media as a viable lifestyle for people that otherwise would not know about it, would not be involved with it, would not have an inkling idea that it existed. But it becomes a viable option because they're upset about something that doesn't even align with it. And so they make this huge drastic change in life, not prepared for the outcome. And then we have an adult that's ended somewhere that they're not prepared to be. And they're frustrated, mad. And they take it out on everyone else. I don't know if you've ever done counseling or dealt with somebody in counseling. They will take it out on everyone else until they come to a place where they become accountable to themselves and responsible. And then they realize what they're doing, and they try to stop that. So it can be a really bad position to be in. Not to mention that most of the money for this has been pushed by like people from other nations. Why? Well, they understand exactly what they're doing. If you were to psychologically profile a nation and see strong young people, educated youth, a steady enrollment to the military, and strong, capable warriors, you wouldn't really look at invading that country, would you? No. But then you augment them, tell them fat's bad, protein's bad, you need to eat soybeans, and you need to eat non-dairy. Your gut doesn't do well with dairy. You can't compost this, and go look at research. It's a non-thing. For most people, it's a non-thing. Again, we've got a tiny little percent of the population that should be involved. We've turned it to a mass event. Then they create, the big identity swap, hormone swap. They've eradicated, a good quarter of the young people that would grow up to be our strong, capable thinkers, doers, warriors. We're not that country anymore. Now we've got rage-filled people that cannot self-soothe in any manner. They have no coping skills, and their brains are about 15 years behind them due to hormonal chemical changes and augmentation. We're not standing where we used to stand. And that's not scary to other nations that have now those young men that are capable, that are powerful, those young women that are smart, that understand, I want a life, I want a family, I want to create a world that my children can live in, I'm going to do what I can. They have a lot of goals and ambition. We don't have that. That's why you see a lot of people when they go through counseling or they have a heightened awareness, they normally detransition. And what it really truly is they got them at a time in their life when they are going through a lot of reflective behavior, when they're starting to really look at themselves, look at society. If you can make that young person feel inadequate to where they have to strive to become something they're really truly not, then you can really keep them absolutely screwed up until they're a young adult, middle-aged adult. Because they'll be searching, seeking, and they'll do it everywhere else but within themselves. And then when they wake up and they realized, I've done this for 10, 12 years and nothing's improved, I need to really search my own soul. Then they get back in touch with the things that matter. And they realize, I didn't really need to change myself. I just needed to wait for my brain to catch up with my body, for my hormones to catch up with everything, and for me to make sense of it all. Everyone goes through that phase in their life where their body, their brains, their hormones, it's just all fighting. It's called puberty. It's not nice. Growing up is a messy business. Nobody tells them this anymore. Nobody says you're going to have a time frame in your life where every decision you make is going to be driven by something you don't understand. And it's just going to be a messy time in life. Be prepared. You're going to be there. I tell everybody you're going to have giant brain farts from 18 to 24. After 24, when your brain is kind of solidified, things start making more sense. I've had so many kids that I had in counseling see me out and about and go, oh my God, you were so right. And I'm like, I know. I tried to tell you. How do I know that? I experienced it too. My first marriage was a giant brain fart. I thought I could change this person, that he left me, and I could change him. And I was going to do such a wonderful thing by making him who I thought he could be. I saw the potential. I saw the possibility, and he left me. We all know now what happens with that. That focus leaves really quick, especially when things are hard, especially when you have goals and aspirations. And it's just too hard. So they just flake off and leave. If you would just give yourself a little bit of grace and say, you know something, I'm not making the best decisions right now because my body and my brains, my chemicals, my hormones, we're not jiving right now. I need to be careful what decisions I make until my brain is really caught up, until I feel that I can make a good decision. Just give yourself a little bit of grace there to get through that sloppy time of life where everything's kind of everywhere. It will stop. It will get better. You will get a handle on things. and then you'll start making good decisions again. But you grow and change so much from literally from 15 to 24. You grow and change so much between your brain forming, chemicals, hormones. You're just a different person every day. People don't understand that. I'm not the person I was when I was 20. I have so many different viewpoints, perspectives that took life and time to create. And I just want people to understand that. You have to grow into yourself. You don't immediately manufacture who you want to be. It is a process, and it's painful at times, but it's absolutely worth it to hang in there and see who you're going to become, just how Mother Nature made you, because I guarantee whoever you end up being is going to be perfection for you. But we don't have a lot of patience anymore. We don't have a lot of patience. There's a lot going wrong in this nation, a lot. A lot of people that run with a little bit of information and are just brave enough to smack people in the face or knock them on the head and tell them, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong. And then we end up in these huge societal upheavals just because a few loud people couldn't sit down and wait for a little bit of life experience. Respect someone that had some life experience. Look at research, look for facts. If you can't make a decision because you're super emotional, then pare yourself down to only facts. Only facts. Read scientific journals, read reports. Don't read anything else. You will screw yourself up. But we don't have the ability to do that anymore in the U.S. We have softened ourselves to a point where we are absolutely mush. And you got to be hard-nosed to live in a world that is so different. You have to. You have to say, I'm going to have to put this all on me, stop expecting anything from anyone else. The only person I can control is me. And I'm going to have to cultivate an existence that is positive. And if I'm not doing positive things, I'm going to really have to talk to myself about it. But we have so many people that go out and they don't want to create positivity. They want to create negativity and upheaval. And those are the people that I would beg, sit down and talk to yourself. Why are you doing that? Why aren't you worth happiness? Why aren't you worth peace? What do you not control in your life that makes you want to control everything in someone else's? Because I bet you if we give it about 2 weeks of focusing on your actual problems, you can overcome that problem and life will seem a lot better. But you have to recognize that problem and put some energy toward it. The people you're putting your energy toward, it's not doing anything. It's being wasted. It's being wasted. I don't think people are happy when they waste their energy. I think they feel busy. And feeling busy sometimes motivates people because that's better than feeling lost. But if you're looking at yourself and you're doing work on yourself, then you're never really lost. You just haven't made it to the point where you're seeing what you want to see yet. It will happen. But you got to keep talking and dealing with yourself. That's the only person you're in control of. A lot of people don't understand that. Maybe somebody will watch this. I don't know why I got off the tangent, but maybe somebody will watch this that needed to hear that. Maybe they just need to hear that. I really do hope and pray that we get to a place in society where we stop promoting harm based on money, stocks, pharmaceuticals, ego, hate. That would be nice. That would be a really nice world to live in, where we all just wanted everybody to be happy and be the best version of themselves possible. That would be awesome. I don't know why people get up and want people to be the worst version of them. That's going to impact everybody. Why would you wish for that? Because you can manipulate it. That's why they wish for it. Idle hands. Anyway, bit flabbergasted at about 30% of the population right now. Especially when there's so much information, factual reports, scientific journals, there's so much factual information out there. Numbers really don't lie. Not when all you do is subtract them. You can pretty much follow that one right through. But we have so many people that are not willing to read any facts right now. There's no justification for that. And there's no justification to be mad at somebody that is looking just at facts right now and saying, holy crap, Yeah, I want to know everything. I want to know every penny, where it went, what's going on. These other nations, these other countries, they have been going, we didn't get that money. That didn't occur here. I don't know why we're being listed in that crap. We didn't get that. But nobody will go out and read the media from other nations, from other countries. They won't read the media because it doesn't give them the story they want to hear. They will only read the media that echoes what they want to hear. And you're never going to learn anything listening to just that. You got to, throw a wrench in your thought process every once in a while and listen to somebody else's perspective, because that's where you grow. That's where you challenge your own perspective and you know if it's right or you need to revamp and think about it. And we've got a whole group of people that's just not even willing to revamp and think about it. They just are going with pure idiocy straight to the bank. And I'm just like, yeah, it's not the best option. Maybe it'll get better. Maybe they'll slip up and get a VPN and start reading other countries' news. Maybe they'll find that back door to get into a newspaper from India. India is really a truth teller. They don't care what they say about anybody. But Putin really put some crap in the papers the last few weeks that just tells you the point blank truth of what we've been going on since 2020. What's been going on since 2020, what we've been going through. He just laid it all out there with the receipts. And it's a very small percentage of people that actually do their research that's getting this information. Everybody go and read what Putin wrote, what he said about since 2020 and beyond. Go read. We all know now that the did come from an LAB. Why am I getting there? It's proof positive now, absolutely known. Why do I still get on media outlets, mainstream media outlets, where they say that it was not? Why are we perpetuating lies that we know are false? Why do we allow people to perpetuate lies? Somebody's going straight to the bank with it. That's why they won't stop saying it. But we really got to become aware. We really got to look at the rest of the world. The United States is not a power player anymore. I hope we get back to that. But I hope when we get big enough to get back to that, we also go, let's not start this big brother to everybody again, because we see where that gets people. It opens up a lot of doors to a lot of thieving politicians. So let's be very careful about these aid programs and these awards and these grants and loans to other nations, because these politicians pat them. So how do we keep a very transparent, open, running tally that taxpayers can watch, so we know exactly where every penny is going? Because I don't want to get back to where we're sending money for operas and paying for students to go to university in other nations while we have people here that can't even go. While we have homeless people here, we're sending money to luxury hotels in other cities. What are we doing? What are we doing? We're supposed to be sending money to Haiti, but it goes to a wedding in a mansion. Accountability. Let's be transparent. Let's do the right thing. Let's hold everybody's butt to the fire. And let's make sure that the taxpayers can see the running tally and see what's going on. Because I guarantee it doesn't matter what side they're on. We're going to find some Republicans doing some shady crap here real soon. But it doesn't matter who's in power. If we don't hold them accountable, if they're not somebody that is self-reflective and does it automatically, or they're not somebody that's going to allow society to go, we're watching you, lay yourself bare, we're not going to get the true story. So we're going to have to be very aware of our politicians from now on and be like, nope, sorry. We're watching you. We want to see it all. That's the only way that citizens are going to be back in control of this nation. That's it. That's the only way. So I hope things get better. I hope things improve. I hope people become much better researchers. It's called Google fingers. If you're super lazy, just Google it, because you're going to find a link somewhere that's going to take you down a rabbit hole. If you can just acquire data, stockpile data, and then read through it, it's not that difficult. And then you're not getting emotionally invested into an argument where you have to portray your side. Just read the information. That's all you got to do. Just read the factual information. Compost it. and go, well, yep, that's the truth. I'm going to follow that. So kudos to Doge right now. Don't worry, they're not augmenting anything. He's on a read only. He can't augment anything. And once he notices stuff, he has to take it to the president. He's not tweaking anything. I'm not like super into Elon because he's this big AI guy that wants to do Neuralinks, and I'm just not okay with that. I don't think transhumanism is a positive. No. I think we can screw up anything, and if we're going to create an artificial intelligence we think is going to be awesome, we're going to screw it up somehow. Don't do it. The only thing that's 100% is our screw up rate right now. Don't do it. We're having enough problem with real people. Let's not create a fictitious one to deal with. That's just where I am. And let's not mix. We've got enough going on out there that the government's done in the past that we're not aware of. There's over 30 times they've been found to do stuff illegal, these tests and stuff illegal. What about the ones we've not found? I don't want to embolden them anymore to do any more of this janky stuff. Transhumanism? No, thank you. You think you got a remote control to my life and my body? Stop it. Stop running all your signals and sound waves and crap through me so that you can use me as an antenna and a battery pack. I'm not okay with that. Stop making people's lives absolute crap. Stop generating things that cause all these horrible medical issues that we're experiencing in this nation. There's a lot that they're not being transparent on, but if you get in there and you read a lot, you know what's going on. It's hard to do factual battle with somebody that does not ever read facts. And I refuse to do emotional battle because my emotions are more important than that. They're tied to my body, my stress, my health. And I'm not going to open up and give you that outlet of power over me. It's not a good idea. So when people want that outlet of power over you, be aware. They want you in your emotions because they can manipulate you and control you. Always look for facts. Do your research based on facts. Don't offer up something that's so sacred to yourself. Just don't do it. Maybe that was just what I need to say. I don't know. Anyway, gotten off on a tangent. But I am excited about tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the Sabrina Wallace interview. I will do a community post. I can talk. I will do a community post later to nail down the time. And please be aware when I do the time, it will say CST because it's Central Standard Time that I'm in. So just be super aware of that. She's going to be getting back with me later to nail down the absolute time that she wants to do this. And I'm going to let Sabrina do it. I want her in tippy-top function. I want her to want to be there, and I want her to be happy to be there, and I want her to be there at the time of day she wants to be there. And then we'll ask all the questions, possibly take some more from the audience. Just see where we go. I want to show you a side of her you don't normally see, but I also want you to get some answers you want to get as far as what we can put on this platform. And I want some of you just to see somebody that thinks completely different than you, and that's okay. I've learned so much from her. And we're like-minded in lots of ways, polar opposite in many ways, but every time I deal with her, I learn something. And those are the people that I gravitate toward. If you're going to challenge me and make me learn something about the world or about myself, I'm there for it. That's great. I become a better person every time I learn something like that. That's what I look for in people. That's what I look for in my friends. I don't want an echo chamber. I want to be challenged. And I want people that are like-minded but have very different skill sets. That's where I thrive. I love that. I love constantly getting information and ideas from my friends. It's great. It's a good challenge point for everybody. So tomorrow's going to be a big day. I've got to go get my ear taken care of, and I'm going to run Kim to the grocery. Her truck's down, so I'm going to run Kim to the grocery if she needs it while I'm out. And then I'm going to come back and rest and get everything lined up for tomorrow. I hope that all of y'all can come back tomorrow. I hope we don't get trolled hot and heavy. But I hope all of y'all can come back tomorrow and watch this interview, get a little bit of information. We will also link her Odyssey page if you want to go review some of her work. It's the Odyssey platform at Synergy, P-S-I-N-E-R-G-Y. Just go to Odyssey and search Synergy, and you'll find her. She'll come up to the top one. Go through her recent works, her recent topics, and if you have a different question, prepare it. Maybe we'll get to it in the interview process tomorrow. But I hope everybody can attend and learn something tomorrow. Just take in stuff tomorrow. Whether you learn something, just take it in, process it. It'll be good. Be good for you. Okay, I'm going to shut up now and get ready to go to the doctor. Y'all have a great rest of the day. I don't know if I'm going to do anything the rest of the day as far as on the internet. I think I'm going to just be prepping for tomorrow. So I will see y'all tomorrow, hopefully with an ear that doesn't have cotton in it. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for joining me on my tangent this morning. I apologize.